Hello and welcome back to War Thunder, welcome back to Arcade, and welcome back to a bit of an unusual episode because a few days ago I was on James's livestream over at twitch.tv/cosmic_guppy. I'll put a link down below. So we were playing throughout the evening, kind of playing casual at around 3740. And some of the matches went well, some of the matches went very badly. And because I couldn't really see James and Alan, who were in the squad, couldn't really give them any help. So what I'm going to do is go through the replays. So if you didn't know, you can hit up community and hit replays, and you can see replays of the matches that you were in. Now this one down here has got an X through it. This replay was recorded in an older version of the game, so keep that in mind. Sometimes replays aren't available either because they're a little bit too old and they just get knocked off the bottom of the list, or because the game is updated and now the replay is invalid. However, if you look here, we have one from I think yesterday, and then we have others from the actual evening itself. So what I'm going to do is pick 3 replays, 3 matches, and just go through and see what each of us did well and see what each of us can improve on, because I know James was having problems getting shot to pieces in a few of the matches, and I know he was having trouble shooting enemy vehicles. So we're just going to see what happened and what we can do better. So welcome to a replay, welcome to Little Sinai, and welcome to us going towards the sea point. I am actually in the tank ahead, so James is in the French AMX-13 FL11. We ram each other. Well, actually what happens is I slam on the brakes to brake check him, and he bumps me out the way, which is, you know, it's for the lols. James is the one streaming. James is the one who you will see actually on the live stream itself. I'm just messing around. I'm just having a good time, So I'm way back there, way over there. Now I'm just going to do a little pause as we get past these buildings, because there is something you should know about the way the world is constructed. So James, go a little bit further forward so I can hit pause. Doop. I am way over there where the rocks are, because rocks are your friends. Rocks are cover. In the game, you cannot shoot through rocks. You cannot shoot through masonry, and you cannot shoot through log cabins. So on Finland, you have log cabins. They are completely invulnerable. That church over there is made of masonry, but anything made of brick or concrete, chances are you can't shoot through it. However, there are certain buildings you can shoot through, so make a note of those. Adobe buildings, like the ones here, will just allow shells to sail all the way through. So armor piercing composite rigid, ballistic cap, all of those will go straight through. A fused round, like a high explosive round, will hit the building and explode, and destroying part of the building. So if you see a tank on the other side of it, solid shot all the way through, APC shot all the way through, but anything with a fuse in it is going to hit the building and explode and demolish part of the building. Very, very much worth knowing. That wasn't even good English. Let's resume. Now I think at this point I'm like, James, where are you going? Come to me, James. And James is like, no, I'm going over here behind the cover of this building, and I'm going to take a shot. There is a good old spark. Now what we can do is hit Alt and Z. So Alt and Z on the replay, or Alt and Z in the game, will get rid of your overlay. So he is shooting at this Sherman Firefly. There's a huge shower of sparks. I think what he actually hits is a rock. So if we go back to James, you can also see, just over here, on the corner of the building, there is a hole in the corner of the building. And that, my friends, is because, oh my god, is because it wants to... Oh my god, it wants to settle the camera before I can turn it again. That's because I just took a shot. I'm there in the Panzer IV, I just took a shot, and I shot through the building at the Sherman Firefly, because you can do that. So at this point, James is actually completely vulnerable. If the Sherman decides to take a shot back at his nameplate, and you can see the nameplates, seeing the nameplate means you know the guy is in the area. If the nameplate is red, all it means is that your cannon has an unobstructed view of part of their tank. It does not mean this lad cannot shoot you. So he is dull red. It just means that you can't see him with your main cannon barrel. But actually, if this lad pulls forward slightly, he could shoot straight through there. So I'm going to go back to James because he starts driving around, and let's just see what's going on. So he doesn't take a shot through the building. Now we're blind shooting essentially, and the Sherman's already popped smoke to cover himself because he doesn't really know what's going on. I have a feeling he's got the premium tank, but he's not... yeah, he's kind of looking around like he's not sure what's going on. So here we are. Boop, going to pause it again. I am right next to this rock. I'm going to switch to me. Hello, me. So I'm right next to this rock, and what I'm doing is angling my armor, so anyone over here, if they shoot my armor, is going to shoot it at an angle. I'm also protecting the side of my tank by this rock on the right-hand side, so that anyone up to our right, like this ZIS-30, is going to have a hard time penetrating the side of the tank, because the side of the tank is absolutely, it's so thin, it's like a Kit Kat wrapper, whereas the front of the tank is where all the armor is. Now if I just bring us down, yeah, it's a little bit awkward, we got a bit of a tree in the way, but you can see we have all the armor, and we have all the armor applique on the front as well, so we have extra bits of tracks and things protecting us. So let's jump back to James because he was the one having a hard time. So James sees, I think, Panzer IV-H up on the hill, so he's going to go have a little drive forward and see what's going on up there. Now, what he could do, pause again, what he could do is carry on out here to the rocks ahead of him. He would be covered from the ZIS-30 and the Panzer IV and everything, and he would have a very good time, and then he could start shooting this M4 down in the town. So the little arrow from the sky on a replay denotes the fact that that is artillery being dropped on that area. So what he's going to do is he comes back. Bearing in mind James is in a light scout vehicle. He now has... Does he have artillery? What does he have here? He has a 104mm pen, and he has an oh, okay. So he has stuff that he can do. I've just been shot on the front of my tank. So you can see me ahead. This ZIS-30 is taking a shot. You can see the front of my tank is, in fact, angled. So a shot on the front of here is going to get bounced. I think, can't remember exactly where it got shot, but it did some damage, or at least it did enough for me to want to not be there. But still, the side of my tank is absolutely protected by this rock, so the hardest armor, the most solid armor, is actually facing this guy, and it is actually at an angle. So that's what you mean by angling your armor. Angle the front of the armor as much as you can while not presenting the side to the enemy. Let's go back to James. Oh no, James, what are you doing? Oh, this is some pants on head thing. So everything that I just said about angling your armor and not presenting the side to the enemy, this is full-on first-person shooter. So your cannon is now facing that ZIS-30. We have a Panzer IV on top of the hill. That guy there, even though he's dark red, it doesn't mean he can't get a shot on either of us. It just means our cannon barrels cannot see him. So you can actually see the physical model, and I think, yeah, look at that. The front of his tank, the side of the armor, and the front of his tank is absolutely visible to the Panzer IV-H and the ZIS-30. And that is going to be bad news, because although there's a big old engine in there, yeah, any shot along this side armor is going to go straight in and probably take out some ammunition. Well, let's see what happens. Alright, pause there. So, we have a bit of a situation going on. Basically, the shot has gone straight through the side of his tank, straight into the tank itself. Let's see if we can slow it down and just see what happens to his vehicle. I think it's going to take it out, though. Yep, disabled. So, pause it. Yeah, that shot came from the Panzer IV. Straight into the engine, knocked him out. Now, I am moving backwards and forwards. You cannot rely on a teammate to be armor for you or protection for you. There's no way, if I want to take a shot at that Panzer IV, I could pull forward and expose part of the side of my tank, or at least turn the tank as I go around the rock. As soon as I've taken a shot, I'm completely useless, so I'm moving backwards and forwards. Even if I did stay there and think I'm acting as armor for James, I'm not. That Panzer IV has already taken a shot on him. He's already popped a hole into the side of him. There is no way I can protect our boy. So yeah, let's just carry on. So yeah, take a shot at the Panzer IV. There's a lot of things dropping on that guy. Boom. Yeah, ammunition cooks off. So he gets shot, ammo cooks off. I think the second shot actually goes through the collar of the tank, hits some ammunition in the back of the vehicle, and the whole thing just explodes. Which, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered where I was. That Panzer IV had a firm line on James's vehicle. But the side of the vehicle. Okay, so James's second tank is an M4 Sherman, and we go up over the top of the hill. Now, this is a brave move. I'm just going to pause. Boop. Here. It's a brave move because the direction that he is looking, in fact the direction the cannon barrel is looking, is the enemy spawn. If you bring this up, we have a KV-1 in the distance hiding behind rocks. So that KV-1 is dull red. We have some tanks over to our left. The Panzer IV is obviously way down in the rocks, but we have something over here as well. Dull red, we know, just means that this cannon barrel cannot see anything on that vehicle, but it doesn't mean that vehicle can't see anything here. They could absolutely see the front quarter of the tank, and this side of the tank, the big flat side of a Sherman, is actually where you want to shoot it. So driving over the top of a hill, this is essentially a free kill for anyone looking in this direction. So side on towards the enemy spawn, I wouldn't do it. It was a risky biscuit, especially if you're driving over a hill. The Chieftain says tank should go where water flows. The Chieftain, who is a tank commander and has his own YouTube channel called The Chieftain. A very, very good history channel if you want to know about tanks and armoured doctrine and things. Now James's tank is going to start sliding around because he's getting quite far away from us. Pause. Takes a shot in the side. Luckily it doesn't hit the bottom of the tank itself, because a shot in the side would just absolutely annihilate him. In fact, if we bring this up, we have the KV-1, we have a couple of KV-1s. So this is what I like to call a free kill. If you're all the way over here, yeah, chances are if you're just driving along the top of a hill, everyone can see you. Absolutely everyone can see you, and you are likely just to take a shot into the ammo rack. So let's go forward, because I think what he's going to do is start looking at this T-34. T-34, who are you? You are... So he fires at the T-34, which is already going backwards. I think the replay puts him a little further backwards than normal, but even if you took a shot at this lad, basically you see sparks and everything over here, and he's like, oh god, T-34s! T-34 is so impossible to destroy. Well, not really. See, what's actually happening is that guy's front armor is angled, so if he struck that, then you're not really going to be able to pop through. Now he's sliding around because I'm actually over at C and I'm the one recording this, and James is all the way over at B, so things get a little bit weird on the old replays. Well, let's see what happens, because what you want to do, James, what you want to do is actually drive out to where these shrubs are and then drive back so your front armor plate is facing the T-34. Or go around behind the rock. You have a lot of soft cover. These tents and things are going to protect you, or at least obscure your vision to enemy players. So I would probably go around the back of the rock, knowing the T-34 is probably waiting for me. I would not drive side on with my gun over the edge of the tank. That is asking to get shot in the ammo rack, but okay, let's see what happens. And what happens is T-34... So he didn't appear because I can't see him on my replay. Straight through the side of the tank, into the ammo rack, and got exploded. Yeah, so James got ammo racked the second time, and then a little bit of machine gun fire. The clue to all of this is the fact that the turret is facing over the side. You want the turret to be facing over the front armor. That's where you want to be shot if you're going to be shot at all. Alright, and the French M10, which is very brave, and I'm going to say why it's brave right now. So we hit pause. But there's a lot of stuff going on. We have 3 airplanes up, we have an open top vehicle, and it's the last vehicle late on in an arcade match. We have a bomber, and we have a couple of bombers, fighter bombers, and you are going to be just open to being machine gunned. So if you're taking an open top vehicle, I would take it as the first vehicle in a match. You also have this T-34E way out there. Now I keep saying that if the color is dull, then your cannon can't get a shot on you, on him, but he can get a shot on you. Sideways on to the enemy spawn, and this is basically, I mean, an M10 is a tank hunter based on the Sherman chassis, but it's not got great armor. In fact, most of the parts are to do are Sherman running gear with this originally 3-inch gun. So let's just see what happens. I'm going to bet that it's a side shot from all the way over here. That T-34 behind the rocks. In fact, Mario, can we actually see from your point of view? Yeah, look at that. So Mario, in his T-34E, that's the STZ. Yep, with the extra armor on the front. That's a 4.0 vehicle. He is waiting, and he goes, oh, look at that M10, just like driving across the very top of the hill. That M10, and the M10 stops in full view. He is like lining up. M10 stopped in full view, takes the shot. So James at this point is gone to visit Alan. Alan is actually tucked in behind some rocks, which is very, very good. That M10 has already fired. That shell is on the way. And in fact, we can watch in slow motion. And boop, whoop, boop, hits the front of the vehicle straight where the driver would be and destroys it. Just shrapnel wrecks the tank. That's the third tank shot in the side. So yeah, stopping on the top of a hill in the middle of nowhere without cover is super bad. So we're just going to look at Alan from Alan's perspective. So Alan is behind cover. That T-34 cannot get him. That T-34 is freaking miles away. James has stopped out there looking at what Alan's looking at. So they're looking down towards the A point. And I don't think Alan can see much from up here. In fact, God knows what Alan is actually looking at. In the meantime, I'm down by C and I'm still got my armor, yep, angled armor with the side of the tank facing the rocks, and I'm trying to just do what I can down here to hold the point. And I think we hold C for most of the match, while being A, yeah, really don't get taken at all. So cool, why don't we jump into another game and just see if I've made any mistakes. So here we are on Breslau, and I am in a Panzer IV. We're just going into the center point, so we're going to go and cap B. I believe James has already raced ahead and found some bad guys. So what I do is say to myself, well, we have a bunch of dudes here, so we got James and Alan ahead of us. There we go. We got a T-34 in the central area. It looks like we might even have a whirlwind as well, and I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take the right-hand road and make sure our backs are covered. What I probably should have done is just set up here along this side wall ahead of us, so really put my tank snug against this door frame here and just waited for stuff to come around the corner. That would have been so much better than what actually happens. So, yeah, I should have just stayed here. But I don't. What I actually do is drive around the corner and find a T-tray. Yeah, the T-55E1. Yeah, I was just like, ooh, do I have to read it? The T-55E1 experimental vehicle. 8 wheels, a large gun, 4 dudes with their heads that poke up over the top, and no armor to speak of whatsoever. This guy sets me on fire, and at this point I'm going, ooh, James, ooh, Alan, somebody help me, just machine gun this fool. But to be honest, they're around the corner. They are around the corner, they're quite far away, and you don't really want to say to new players, hey, I'm in a bit of trouble here. So I am angled, I'm absolutely angled, but on fire. There's not a lot I can do, so I'm just having to wait for somebody to really help. At this point, one of the things I can do is summon artillery, because this map is so big, and it takes so long to actually drive 20 points that that basically I have artillery at this point, so just drop it on my own head. But we do have a T-3457 in the background, so if we resume, this guy can wait to take a second shot, but actually what happens is he gets shot in the side by the T-3457 and it annihilates his entire crew. So the vehicle's on fire, but actually what happened is his crew died. I have to put the fire out. I've already called artillery on myself. It says press F to start repairing the ground vehicle, but what I actually do is wait for the emergency repair to happen. So there's a little spanner that will fill up first of all, and then I should start moving backwards. There we go. So you can see a lot of sparks and smoke coming out the back of the vehicle. That is just an emergency repair so this thing can start moving. And it's a good thing that we do start moving, because the artillery that I called down on my own position would have probably annihilated me. So that's a little thing. So we stop here and repair, get into cover and then repair. So if you are repairing out in the middle of nowhere, chances are you're just going to be shot. And that is a bad thing. Always find cover before reloading or repairing. Now we have James and Alan over there. If we bring up the little menu again, we can find James because, let's do this. Let's pause. James is in a really good position here. His side is against the wall. This is exactly what he should have done on Sinai. Side is against the wall, gun is pointing down the street. You can actually see he's taken a hit in the front. There's a shell impact on the collar of his tank. Volumetric shells and overlapping armor. That's, in the old days, he might have got immediately destroyed. But actually, he's okay. Alan, on the other hand, well, side on. Side on to everyone coming down the street. So if anyone's coming down here across the bridge, they might see James's track. They might be able to track him, but they're not going to be able to do much. He doesn't really have a good amount of vision down the street. Maybe if someone appears where that telephone box is, he'll be able to take a shot. Alan, on the other hand, Albert, where are you? So Alan was also on our team, in our squad. Anyone coming down this road sees Alan is going to ammo rack him straight through the side of his tank. So Alan should actually either be where this rubble is, facing this way with the front of his tank pointing in that direction, or he should be in the shell crater, so hull down so he gets protection from the lip of the crater, so he's actually below the ground, facing down this road, because we've got a T-34 here, actually in these buildings to our, their right. But yeah, you do not want to ever show the side of your tank to anyone, especially you don't want to be stopped showing the side of your tank. So I do believe he turns around at this point. That's okay, that's better, but you have the shell crater here. Get in it or get behind this rubble. Artillery is being called on this point for some reason, not entirely sure what. Let's go back to me, because at this point I'm fighting a KV-1. So there's a KV-1 and there's a dead body between us, so we've both got cover from the dead body. That's a T-34 dead body. We can shoot, however, on the front of the KV-1, so crew knocked out, straight through the front, and just annihilates everyone. Yeah, the KV-1 has a nice flat slope right in front of the driver. Pop a shot through there. We got a T-34 right here, no pen. I think what I do is strike the bottom of his turret, which is not so good. A lot of overlapping armor there. Back up. Now what I do is I go to push the T-34, which is super aggressive, and that's not going to help me, because if I spoon the shot, which is exactly what I did, the T-34 is going to kill me. So I can look at the T-34 and just see his position just quickly. So he is behind cover. The side of his tank is absolutely covered by this wall. The back of his tank is protected. He doesn't need to worry about people coming up behind him. You can drive in on the right, but you have to drive in over rubble. And you can come in where James is. So James is in the MX-13 FL11, and this guy is backing up. You can see James. James takes a shot, but it's fairly good angled armor. What is he doing? I think he might have hit the front plate. So the thing is, he's not facing James directly. So this is fairly good angling of his front plate if that's where James shot him. In fact, even if James shot him on the side's fairly angled. So this positioning is actually quite good. I know I said don't allow people to shoot in the side, but if the angle is so oblique, then the actual amount of armor almost becomes infinite the more oblique you are to your enemy. It's also called side scraping. That's where you back up around the corner, presenting you there's just the side of your butt, because if you have such a shallow angle, then yeah, you get way more armor. So he machine guns back, doesn't have a round in the tube. Don't know if he's got any damage. In fact, he doesn't have any damage. We can go look at James, because at this point I will be probably driving back to the battlefield. So Alan is shooting, but Alan is sort of in the middle of nowhere, kind of presenting the front of his tank, just driving forward, machine gunning. What he should do is be out inside of this courtyard, just reloading. Don't be facing an enemy if you have to reload. The T-34 does get a solid shot, 99mm of pen at point blank range. And the front slope of that thing is like 50mm on the Sherman. So James is just like, oh, what am I doing? I have no idea. All my friends have just died and I'm in a light tank. Best thing you can do is this M10 goes forward, is probably support the M10. So yeah, the M10 is now shooting not at the T-34, but this M4A2 over here. So we can see what's going on. M10, friendly M10 down there. We can't see the T-34 because no one's looking at him on actually in the match. It's just how replays work, but believe me, the T-34 is still there. And this lad is now machine gunning the M10. If this lad wanted to take out the M10, you can see he's... So this is a mistake by the enemy Sherman player. He's got nearly 50 solid shot rounds, and he's got nearly 50 high explosive rounds. His tank is full of ammunition. If you shoot him, it's so easy to ammo rack this guy. This guy is basically a walking powder keg. And all he needed to really do to take out the M10 was to load one of these high explosive rounds and pop the M10 with a single shot. The overpressure would have killed the crew because it's an open top vehicle. He does manage to get the kill, but yeah, he could have done it so much easier, and he only needs to take 5 high explosive shells and maybe 25 M72 shots, and that's all you need. You don't need nearly 100 rounds of ammunition. You're just asking to be blown up. You're asking to be blown up. So we'll go back to me, and I am about to make a huge mistake. I'm going to leave the overlay on because it's just a little bit easier. I'm going to make a huge mistake. So this bridge, there's something you need to know about this bridge. Pause here. The size of this bridge, you can shoot through. So you can't shoot through buildings. You can't shoot through buildings, but this is absolutely pierceable by shells. You can just you can put a shell straight through here, and we have an M4A2 over here. And as soon as I come here, I get popped at some point, so I back up. I shouldn't have backed up. I should have carried on. Yeah. I looked at him. He looked at me as we went past. I should not have backed up. I should have just carried on going forward. Because backing up, you're super slow. He already knows where I am. I know where he is. He's already lined up the shot. I'm the one moving. I should not have done that. And I'm also side on. Even though we have these side skirts, they're not going to stop a solid round going through. And we already know the M4A2 is packing solid shot. So he pops a shot through the side. I am now looking at him. I think either my turret is stuck or I have some serious issues. My turret ring is now out. I've lost, my gunner? And we have a T-34 round in the corner going, ooh, that's a free shot. So if we just switch over, yeah, this lad comes around the corner, sees a Panzer IV repairing on the bridge, and just annihilates it. I get just taken out straight through the front of my tank, and then he gets popped, which is nice, but it doesn't help us. So I think there was a bomb that went off. Going back to James, James has gone back to just holding the cap. So this is something, it's a valid tactic. You can see on the ground, these lines here denote the actual cap point, the capture point. So he's on B. As long as he stays here and he's alive, it doesn't matter how many enemy tanks drive onto the point, they will not be able to decap it. They won't be able to take it for themselves, and they won't be able to make it neutral. So as long as he stays here and stays in one piece, he should be okay. Now he's been shot in the side, he's been shot in the front. We can tell that because we've got the shell hit decals, and I think, is that another one there, or is that just a cutout on his tank? Not entirely sure. So he's been hit at least twice. But he does have good cover. He's got cover from here, he's got cover from the side, and as long as he kind of stays alive, he should be okay. So we've got Alan here. And they know there's a T-14 in the middle section, which I think may have just been taken out. Yeah, he's holding this corner here, which is fine. It's actually a legit thing he can do. If you wanted to be a little bit more safe, he could put his side towards one of these doors. Now you can see, because of artillery and bombs and things, these buildings have been destroyed, but they still stop a shell from an enemy vehicle. We have a Panzer IV about to come around the corner. Now this is kind of a bad position again, presenting the side of the tank to anyone coming around that corner. What you want to do is face more towards where the wreck of the T-55 is, which is kind of, he's sort of like nudging left and right. I am in the mini-map, I'm coming back towards the battle in the Churchill, which, okay, so smoke has been popped and I'm not entirely sure why. It does look like he's popped the smoke. So you got the Panzer IVH coming around the corner. That's a free kill right there. Panzer IVH, he's in a 105 Sherman, should just take a shot into the side of that thing. Shoots the top of it, I think, which is fine, and then just gets shot straight through the front plate. I mean, fair enough, could have angled it slightly, shot, yeah, straight through the front plate, 50 mil, on a cannon that can do like 140 mil of pen. So yeah. There's probably not too much he could have done. He had one chance and blew it. But then, wait a second, there was a Churchill about to do exactly the same thing. So here's me coming up, and I'm just like, oh, I need to get back and help James. James has been holding his own all this time. Now, I'm going to make a mistake here. I'm facing the Panzer IV. There's a lot of stuff on this bridge. I can't really see him. So I have a lot of fire in the way, I've got a lot of smoke, a lot of dead bodies. What I could have done is just carried along this road, taken the bridge and come back round and hooked behind the M501, which is probably what I should have done, but I didn't. So I'm lining up on the Panzer IV, take a shot. Panzer IV receives the shot, but I can only see his front armor, so he's angled. So yeah, angled, and you can see very clearly that he's at an angle. I hit him here. Even if I took his track off, which I don't think I did, he is not going to be, he's still a threat. Half of his tank is now protected by the side of this building, which I can't shoot through. I have just alerted him. Oh, there we go. Took a lot of his crew. I've just alerted him that I'm there. Take a second shot, and then he has a full view of me. So I can only see bits of him. If I switch back to me, I can only see bits of him. I can only see that front plate. I can see half of his turret, where he can see all of me. He can see my whole ass, and he is not going to waste that. Yeah, waste that shot straight through the front of my tank. I am out of there. I'm out of the game, in fact. Okay, Port Novichok. Or Novoros, I don't even know what the name of this thing is. In fact, where is James? So we've come to sea. We've come all the way to sea. We've come the back way to get a cheeky point cap. We are now sniping towards the enemy, not the enemy spawn, but actually where the enemy are going to appear. So we've got A and B all in a line here. We already have someone at B, because if anyone's played this map before, you'll know that if you spawn in a town, well, you have an easier time because you're in the shadow of everybody's shells. So you come to C and then you sort of drive towards B, or you come up this road at E4 and then you drive towards B and you just like hoof it in whatever fast vehicle you have. Yeah, where is James? Okay, cool. So he's side on to the enemy. All the enemy team is going to be shooting from this area here, then he's shooting from A. He's been shot in the side. His dudes are unwell. Maybe he was driving along this road? Yeah, not entirely sure. But that is definitely a shot side of the turret. There's a smoking hole there. Yeah, I was like, why is James in the middle of nowhere? So how could he have done this better? Well, let's go back to me. Yeah, could have done this. Gone to C and then sniped from this white building here. Take out this little bit of wall where the Panzer IV is, and then start popping shots towards these guys here. With these wrecks, James's wreck and the other wrecks out in the field, the more that appear there, if you have to go to B, it's actually a lot safer when there's a load of dead teammates out there. So this dude shoots, and I'm just like, oh, what do I do? James, you okay? And James is like, no, I am not. So I come to E4, push my way through here, and then take a shot, and then immediately back up. The armor on the front is angled, although they've taken the barrel, so the barrel tip is gone. Pop some smoke, but I back up before popping the smoke, because I don't want to blind anyone on this road, so any friendlies on this road. Get into cover, and then start repairing. Because if you are out with your whole ass in the middle of nowhere and you're repairing, especially if it's just a broken barrel, then you're just going to be shot by absolutely everyone. So if you can, get into cover before putting the barrel back on. There you go. So we're now looking at James. We know there's an M24 where the orange smoke is. There he is. We got a load of dudes to the side. Half a kilometre or nearly a kilometre away. Okay, no. Stop. Stop. Pause and pause, pause. There's an M24 over here. Let's go and have a little look at him. There we go. James is here. The only thing stopping the M24 shooting James at the moment is this bit of wall in front of him. But he is side on in the middle of nowhere. The M24, light scout tank, that is actually a really nice gun. Oh, it's the Italian light scout tank. All this guy needs to do is pull forward and slap James in the side, which he does. So yeah, side on to the enemy. There is no amount of, oh, come on, that is going to save you there. How could he have done it better? Well, drive to, yeah, E4. And just drive around the corner and drive towards B with your front armor there. I don't entirely know why he's facing in this direction towards E1. Even if you were driving towards the point from the road behind, should be actually facing B. Now, yeah, I just don't understand this getting shot on the side at this point. But here's a top tip. Front towards enemy. Front towards enemy. Front towards enemy. So I got a friendly Panzer 4G, so we're back on my tank. Friendly Panzer 4G. I get into position where I am safe. This guy doesn't have his tow hook on, so I'm not going to pull him out of the way. But I'm safe, and I'm repairing this lad here. I'm not going to put myself in a position where they can shoot me, so if I put myself on the other side, they can start popping shots at me. But I do it. It's partly to get the 3 points, and partly because it's actually good to have more friendlies up. So it's like being a medic in a game. Always keep your friends alive, and the more friends you have alive, the better things are. So, oh, look at that. That's side scraping, backing up sideways and just presenting a minimal profile, and that shot just whistles straight over my engine deck. It's very translucent, but just behind the engine deck, just over the fender, the M24 pops a shot and it just misses. Just misses. So I back up again and I'm presenting like a minimal profile. I know he's just shot, I know he's reloading, even if he has a fast reload. I'm looking at that M24, popping a shot, and then I'm driving forward. I am not going to wait for him to reload and pop a shot back at me. There it goes, another shot over me. I'm shooting at someone out in the field, and I'm just like, no, just back up. Take the shot. And you might say, well, you're exposing your side, but it's such, again, an oblique angle. Like the T-34 earlier, it's such an oblique angle that even with the thin armor sides, it actually counts as much thicker armor the more you sort of side scrape backwards. So I'm just rocking backwards and forwards looking for targets. We've got a bunch of artillery going down, which is also going to obscure. We've got a 105 over there. Got a shot on the side, so I have to repair the track, so a little bit of positioning to try and make myself invisible for anyone over that, especially that M24. Can we actually see what he sees of me? Panzer 4G, so he can actually see some of me, but it's such a hard shot from this point. And he's being artilleried. And we have friendlies, which might make a more juicy target driving towards B. So we can't actually see him because I couldn't see him in-game. It's just the way the replays work. But he pulls forward, we've got a bunch of smoke out now. He's taking shots, but he hits the rail car. So he's having a hard time shooting back. And we also have an Allen with his butt towards enemy and a bunch of smoke out. Yeah, I think I popped smoke and it went into 2 individual clusters left and right of the tank, which was weird. I don't quite fully understand what's going on. The M24 might be shooting back, but as you can see, we're slightly angled. The M24 is in the direction of the barrel, so any incoming rounds are going to be hitting the front plates of my tank, but at an angle about 15 degrees. That's armor angling. I'm hoping that any shot on the inbound is only going to hit that front plate at an angle, and hopefully not the front of my turret. Slapped the M24, took out everyone in this tank, so I'm pretty sure that what I can do now is, yeah, take out the M24. Not a problem. I am a little stuck, so my transmission is out, but I'm in a fairly good position. I could wait for a light repair, the emergency repair, and move myself out of the way, or I could just sit here being a pillbox. Since it's a good position, I'm going to line up on that P40, who is shooting back at me. So Italian P40 just took a shot, and he's like, I'm going to take a shot at you, but for some reason drive into the middle of nowhere. Now I think I take his track, which is why he spins round. It's not going to show on the... oh yeah, it does. Show on the model. So hit the back of his vehicle, took out his track, he spun around. A follow-up shot is going to hurt him. He can actually turn his tank, but what he should be doing is turning his tank so the front armor is facing the incoming rounds from the Panzer IV. Shot back, and then I just slap him in the side, because side on. Never put your side towards the enemy, always front towards enemy. So at this point I've repaired. We have B going down, going down in the middle. We have some Shermans out there, we have the Swedish out there, we have the British. And we have another M24 which gets slapped straight through the turret ring. And at this point it's like, well, what choice do we have? We need to take B, but the map looks fairly clear. There's a dude like racing towards our spawn straight up, so he's now in F5 on the minimap, and I'm just like, well, what do I do? Do I just risk it? And the answer is yes, risk it. So instead of doing what James was doing earlier and going sideways towards enemy, we put the front towards the enemy. So front is towards the enemy and we're driving towards B. And what I'm aiming to do is get to here and get behind as much cover as possible, knowing that I'm going to be shot from this direction over here. So this rail car, this is where people are going to be if they're anywhere, or the side of the street. We also have people ahead of us, which we can see. Now I'm not going to stop here and take a shot. I'm getting into cover because we need this point. And then I'm going to use these windows to sneak shots at people. I am undercover. I have 5 high explosive rounds, specifically for taking out things like M10s and open top vehicles. I had 25 APCBC rounds, which is the main round that I'm taking with, it's going to tell me, 137mm of pen. Yep, there's a huge amount of pen. I think we were playing at 3.7 or 4.0 at this point. So tell someone there's an M4A1 there, and just kind of use these windows to shoot out of like little murder holes. Don't expose the whole ass of your tank if you don't need to. So we got the Italians here, and we can see them on the map. We can see their little name, but they're going to have a hard time taking a shot at us. So they would have to go straight to the window. They can see, but he got shot from the side. The ARL-44, in fact James's ARL-44, has just given him a slap through the side. He's popped smoke, but it's not enough to protect him. At this point, James is using the corner of the building to peek out. Now, what he should do, I mean, it looks okay, but the ARL-44 has these huge horns on the side of the tank and a huge flat side. What he should be doing is angling about 30 degrees, so making sure that the front slope is actually where the gun barrel is, so that anyone shooting back at him has to bounce a shot off the front, this huge frontal slope. You don't want to get shot in the side, and by peeking out like that, you've exposed this huge side all the way from the front of the horn all the way back to the center line of the gun. Anyone shooting from this location ahead of him could get a shot straight through the front. I don't think they do because it's fairly late in the game and we've knocked quite a few people out. So at this point, I'm over there on the point and I am facing the enemy. We have a Panzer III here who is using James as armor, so hopefully even though the front of his tank is exposed, there is a little bit of dirt here, a little dirt berm which is going to protect him immediately from the side, and some racks. He should be okay, but again, these guys should be facing more... Oh god, ironically how Alan is facing, so more front towards enemy. In fact, let's have a look at Alan. Alan's having a good day today. So what's happening? Well, James is shooting at the Panzer IV J over to the left. Is that Panzer IV J? So there's a dude right ahead of him there. So Alan is in... what is Alan in? An M4. What is ahead of him? So we're at a Panzer IV J, and he's in a reasonable position. So his turret is all the way over to the side. His front armor is in fact facing Albert. Takes a shot, takes a couple of shots. I think his turret is actually stuck. It's not showing us that he's taken any damage, but yeah, I think he's taken quite a few hits. So he is getting out of there, and he's now presenting the side armor to Alan, who takes a shot and yeah, gets annihilated. Alan gets a nice clean kill as the guy tries to get away, and that's perfect actually. So the guy had little choice. He could have backed up into a corner. Ooh, 105 straight through the front of the vehicle. Got exploded. In the meantime, I am peeking around this rubble in the middle of the map. I am taking a shot at an airplane. Why not? Get some free kills. That guy's going in upside down anyway. So even if you get like a few glancing hits on an airplane, you can get a kill assist. People are shooting back. The Puvkov is shooting back at me, so he can see bits of me through a window, so he stops, lines up, and then probably takes a shot. Nope, end of the game. Okay, well thank you for joining us. That was interesting. It was interesting to see how the other two were playing that evening, and hopefully they've got some things they can work on, some things they can pick up, and I'm hoping that everyone else can learn from this as well. So it's a huge learning experience for absolutely everyone. Or I've got it completely wrong and I've just got a bunch of people annihilated in the next match. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully there was something that people could pick up. If you do like these videos, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe, because that helps the channel, it helps the video immensely. If you want notifications, click the little bell. If you don't want notifications, because you can be subscribed without notifications, don't click the bell, and I'll tell you what, I'll catch you next time.